Gathering voices, building worlds. The Ampliverse.
And welcome, folks, to another edition of the Autistic Delicatessen. We're here with me, Larnell, as well as Melissa. Also, Oni as our guest, and plus their final episode. Because during this season, they were editing our episodes and really appreciate them for that. Me and Oni started this journey together. But before we get into our conversation, here's our other co-host, Shalise and Nico.
Shalise here. You can find me on all the socials: Instagram, Neurodivergent Millionaire / Autistic Travel Goddess, YouTube, Neurodivergent Millionaire, and Threads as Neurodivergent Millionaire. Thank you so much, Oni, for editing our videos, for being on this show and being such an integral part of the show. I wish you all the best in your future endeavors.
And I am Nico Gomez. And let's just say I want to thank Oni for editing all our videos and showing off how we do this podcast and everything. We're really, really going to miss you, my friend. And you can find me on Food on the Spectrum and Orlando Foodie Fest for some amazing food videos, and you can stay tuned for more.
Thank you for that, Shalise and Nico. Really appreciate them. Definitely check out their Instagrams and their stuff on social media. But only like what I said at the beginning, we started this journey together, and it's so interesting how when we first started, we were doing a little food review on the first podcast, like in late 2019, if I'm correct. And I remember when I first shared with you the idea, it was really off of like you in the past having a tea blog called Land of Infusion, to where you checked out all the different teas in the UK, which, you know, Melissa, have you ever tried any UK teas or anything like that?
I have not, but I am a tea fanatic, so that is something that would just be top of my list. So maybe one day.
It wasn't just the British teas. The majority was, because obviously it's easier to get in my home country. I did get a few overseas. I got some from, it wasn't Himalayan, it was something along those lines. I can't remember now. But I got some from the US as well, and this was like before Brexit and all that, and it was only small samples. So I got a few from all over. I mean, I got some from Vietnam, obviously Japanese matcha. So quite not all over, but quite a bit. I even had Iranian tea as well, which was pretty cool. So yeah, I mean, tea from all over is pretty cool. But as you said, that's what I did a lot back then, was Land of Infusion, doing all tea blogs and stuff. And I still love tea now, but I've became more back into my old coffee ways, being a caffeine addict.
Oh, so you're more of a coffee person, yeah.
I love both. I can't say I love one or the other. It just depends on the day, but I love both. I love a good tea, I love a strong coffee, or just want caffeine all the time. I still drink matcha almost every morning anyway, so yeah.
my coffee has to be iced. It cannot be hot. I cannot do hot coffee.
Are you the same with tea? Do you like hot tea, or do you like iced tea?
I like iced tea better. like I've had hot tea before to try to, like, you know, help with my like throat at the time when I was sick or something like that, you know. But otherwise than that, like, I feel like there's something about like just like cold, like sweet tea I like, you know. I just like that more.
So this is for both of you. So my question with your tea is, do you like it sweetened? And then what's your favorite sweetener? And do you do cream? Like, there's so many ways you can do tea. It's fascinating.
It depends on the drink. If I'm like wanting your typical British cuppa, I usually have milk, no sugar. Or if most of the time I try to drink alternative drinks like oat milk, usually. But if milk's there, I'll drink that because I can drink it, no bother. So, but when it comes to like matcha and that, I like making it like a wee latte. And if I did use sweeteners, usually sugar anyway. Sometimes syrups if it's more like things like bubble tea and things like that, which I do enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, bubble tea. That's man. I remember the first time I had bubble tea. Like, you know, it was outside of like a church I was at back in South Florida, and there was a food truck. And I remember they were selling bubble tea at one of these food trucks. I remember the first time I had it, it was so interesting to drink though, with the bubbles and all that stuff. It's just like it had such a nice taste to it.
Yes.
Can you relate to that, Melissa, in terms of having bubble tea?
Yes. So I have actually, I'm divided. So I love the popping bobas, but I have major texture issues with the chewy one.
The tapioca.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know, I don't know if I just had like I don't want to say a bad experience, but maybe like a not so, they weren't, I don't know. But the ones that I had, and I don't know if it's like this for all of the chewy ones, but the ones that I had at this particular place were like, if I had to compare the texture, it was like to a pencil eraser. Like if I broke the eraser off of a pencil
Ooh.
and chewed on it, and I was like, I feel like that's not supposed to be like that. So maybe I got some subpar boba or something like that. But I love the popping ones.
Yes,
the ones that like
those
have
are
the juice
nice.
in them.
I like them.
I could eat those all day, all day. And I love those. We have a food truck here that does them. And they have, I'm trying to think of the tea that I got. I feel like it was like rose and something. And then the boba that I got were lychee. And I don't know if you've ever had lychee, but they're almost like a grape. It's like almost like a floral grape flavor.
Yeah.
So refreshing. Oh my god. Yeah, if you were in South Florida, probably.
I don't think I had real lychee, but I love lychee flavored things. Oh, they're so good. So good.
Oh, they're so good. Okay, we need to get Oni over to Florida because I have a place here called Infusion Tea that you would love. Like you walk in and there's just a wall of tea jars. And then we need to do a South Florida trip. We can hop on the Bright Line, which is, I got the cold after that, but it's okay. It was still fun. And we could go down to South Florida and I'll get us some lychee because they are probably one of my top three favorite fruits.
It'll be nice to have like Oni back on as a guest. And look, like, by the way, like Oni, you're, don't be a stranger. You're invited back as a guest, like, doing that stuff. So definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
But speaking of that, like during our shows, it's like me and Oni come from such different countries. I'm American, they're British. I mean, sorry, they're Scottish. I'm sorry. I can't say British Scottish. Can't say that. Yes, gotta make sure of that. I've never been to Scotland, just like how you've never been to America. It's like, So yeah, and there's certain terms that you talked about, like you talked about chippy, and we don't say chippy here, or you have like fish and chips over there. I've heard of fish and chips. I remember I went to Dave and Buster's and had fish and chips, and my expectation was, okay, there's going to be fish and chips, like potato chips, but instead it was fish and fries, like, so it's so interesting though. Like, just remind me again, Oni, what a chippy actually is over in the UK, over where you are.
Yeah, a chippy is a fish and chips. We just call it a chippy for short. And a proper fish and chips is like battered fish, chips, or fries, you call it, but chips are chunky, fries are skinny. But some other ones do like little pizzas and kebabs and stuff. They're more like takeaways rather than actual chippies. But sometimes
being takeouts,
anyway. Yeah, takeaway, takeout. Yeah, but a proper chippy, you can get like battered sausages. Let's not talk about deep fried Mars bars. That's a tourist trap. They don't count. They do not count. Not that I've not had one either.
I'm glad you told me that because I would fall right into that trap. So I'm glad you said that.
Like, no, get a pizza crunch. They are so good. It's basically like,
oh, okay.
It's it's just a battered
Sounds
pizza.
Amazing.
It's so unhealthy, but it's amazing. It's like one of their store-bought cheap chippy pizzas you see in every other chippy, but you dip it in batter, and it's amazing. So unhealthy, so greasy, but worth it.
Makes it even better.
And get some pickles as well, and some onion rings and curry sauce.
Pickles, oh.
Let me just tell you, Oni, like, if you ever come to the South and come to some of the places in Florida, like, I remember I went to, like, I helped out at a concert, and it was out in, like, Newport Richey, around Tampa, and I remember they were selling, like, deep-fried Oreos out there, as well as, like...
Yeah, I heard of them.
Yeah, because usually at the carnivals, they would... It's like, you come to the South, you're going to find some deep fried stuff. That's all I got to say, And I'm sure, like, obviously, like, Melissa being in Orlando, you've had some you probably had some deep fried stuff at some of these carnivals or food places, right?
Yeah, have you seen deep fried butter?
I've seen that. I haven't tried it, but I've seen it, so I know what you're talking about.
I haven't tried it either, but I'm just like,
Yeah.
why not?
Oh my god.
That sounds, talk about unhealthy.
That sounds worse than the Mars bar. What the hell?
Also a tourist
Yeah,
trap.
kind of figured.
Let me tell you something. If there was deep fried Mars bars here over in Florida, that's just like, oh, that's just commonplace. It's like, oh, that's Florida stuff. It's like that's Southern stuff. It's like, because as much as I hate to say this, Southern food is built on deep fried stuff. That's what, yeah. It's commonplace. It's like a Monday for us. And you were speaking about pizza, like over the years of us doing shows, like we talked a lot about pizza. We had different guests about it, like, and the thing only that you talked a lot about was pizza swirls. And what is it about those pizza swirls that you make? Do you still make pizza swirls now?
I've not made them in ages. I don't know if I made them since I mentioned them that time, but I would like to make them again. I usually just buy them from the shop, usually a Sainsbury's or Tesco. Although I don't know if Tesco still do them anymore because they did it with a bit of garlic, which is amazing. But I usually get them from Sainsbury's because it's cheaper than getting like a sandwich or something. So it's a good bargain. Although they have raised the price since then, though. So cost of living,
Even here in Florida, even like I think here in the U.S., it's not really so much inflation. The economy's kind of good depending on who you talk to or something. So it's yeah. Yes. Now the housing market, it's a whole different story. Like around Tampa or St. Pete, well. Like forget about in Orlando. I'm sure like Melissa could probably say like, oh, that the housing market is good over. Nope. It's like yeah.
It's no better here either. It's been shit for years.
Oh yes, you can't even get any lofts over there, like good lofts or something. Okay, all right then. Well, that ends my little possible like UK loft idea. Jeez, I really wanted to find a good loft in the UK, but I guess I can't now. It's like, yeah.
We can just bring a bunch of air mattresses over to Oni's house, and we'll just hang out there.
Oh yes, definitely, and all that stuff. I'm sure it'd be very nice and comfortable though.
We'll just camp out on the floor. I always tell my friends, I'm like, I will sleep in the kitchen. Just let me sleep in the kitchen. I'm fine.
Yes. Probably you both can help each other out with making pizza swirls or something. It's like,
there we go.
Yes. Because also like only if you didn't know, like Melissa's a cook. Well, you've seen her Instagram feeds and all that stuff.
I have, and it's so cool because I'm not a cook. You. I just make things on a whim, and usually just make. I'm good at making sauces. Well, mainly tomato-y sauces. Good for pizza swirls or homemade pizzas. So, but yeah, your content is a lot of fun, and I like how you get how the whole Instagram reels and stuff work, or TikTok, how it all works and how you know how to layer it and stuff. So that's pretty cool.
Thank you. I appreciate that a lot.
No worries.
You will enjoy, you'll see later today on the topic of pizza. Wednesday is usually Weird Food Combos Day. And I had a weird food combo with pizza today that was pizza with peanut butter smeared on top of it. And it was surprisingly delicious.
Oh my gosh. You didn't happen to have like cheese or pepperoni in that, did you?
It was cheese. Yep.
Okay. All right.
Cheese. It's just cheese. I would do it with pepperoni too. I always worry though when I do that. I'm like, is this going to make people trust my recipes less? Because if they think that I think this tastes good, they're going to be like, if she thinks that tastes good, her recipes can't actually taste good.
I can only imagine though, and all that stuff, so over the years, like I can just remember that even in our talks on the shows as well as outside, you talked a lot about ham and pickle sandwiches.
Cheese, ham, and pickle
Cheese,
sandwiches.
Ham, and
Branson pickle.
Yes. And I always wonder about that because I thought like that's such a UK type of sandwich though, because it's just like, because when I think of ham and pickles, I think of like regular ham and pickles over it though, But then when I saw some of the sandwiches online, it's more of like round pickles and then
the silver skin.
Yeah.
Yeah, I should have specified that at the time. It's like silver skin pickles. That's more common for us. It's not the gherkin pickles that you guys have, because we usually call them gherkins.
Or like Vlasics and all that stuff, to where there's those like long dill pickles or something like that, Which, anytime I have a hot dog, I would have like the dill pickle relish and all that stuff, and then just put it on there or something like that, it's just it tastes so good though, you know. I've had like Vlasic for years and all that stuff. I remember the commercials here in the U.S. or something like that. So yeah, because have you ever had like Vlasic pickles, Melissa, in some of your
Oh
foods?
yes, I am a self-proclaimed pickle connoisseur. I will try anything. I like all the. We have the bread and butter, we have kosher dill, we have the spicy, we've got uh what are some other ones? I don't know. I'm just like I love them. So as soon as you said that on a sandwich, I was sold.
Throughout our shows that we've done together over the years, only has there been any ones that have been intriguing that stand out to you? Because I know for me, like I remember, this is just my memory. One of my favorites, like you know, which we'll probably show a clip of, is that when we both talked to like Dylan Mallor. He's a talented rapper, by the way, talented MC. He lives in Atlanta, Georgia. He has Full Plates, you know, like definitely check out his stuff like at Bandcamp, you know, fullplate.bandcamp.com. And I remember your reaction to him when he was talking about like, you know, making paninis and then just, you know, for the audience. And then he was saying that you were saying like, you know, when he was talking about bread, like, you know, it's always about some good bread and all stuff. Oh, you need good bread. You need good bread, you know? Yeah. It's just like you said it in such a Scottish type of way right there and all that stuff. So that was a good time though to be able to talk about that, right?
Actually, I did really enjoy that episode, and it was just because it's like two of my favourite things. Well, I have a lot of favourite things, but two at the time, music and food. And some of my favourite episodes, Delicatessen, have been the music and food episodes. And Dylan was just so much fun to chat to. And we had a laugh, and how he made like food live while performing. It's just, oh, it's so cool.
Definitely, you know, like to where like you can enjoy the music. And also like before that we had the Sauce Boss on, you know, to where he was able
Yes,
to,
I loved him as well.
oh yeah, like the Sauce Boss, like a talented like blues musician who like wears like a chef's hat and gets on stage and all stuff, and then has people cook the sauce right on stage, you know, like he would cook gumbo, actually actual gumbo on
Wow,
stage, you know. So
that's so
it's,
fun.
and also not only will he sell his CDs, but he will also sell his gumbo stuff, you know, like his sauces,
He
you know.
did.
So
Yeah, we would have got me the sauce, but it was a bit of a pain, postage wise, unfortunately, because it was overseas. But I would have loved to have tried it. Matt, but definitely another good guest. Speaking of guests, though, some episodes I did really enjoy were some of the more advocate based, like mental health, like coffee, hip hop, and mental health. Was one of them that stands out to me, and his story was just blew me away. And I was having one of the interviews we had with him. We had two, if I remember correct. One of them was with
and one of them was with like Taylor Dankovich, you know. Yes,
that's it. One was with Taylor Dankovich. Um, but with the original one, when he mentioned the story, I was having a bit of a off day. I was having a scatterbrain day, going, "Oh, I've lost my keys, I've lost this, I've lost that, ah!" And I just felt more calm and collected after hearing his story and stuff. And it was just like, "Whoa, this was just, oh man." I just love how charities, food organisations get involved with food and communities and just bring together and that. I've always that's what I love the most about Delicatessen, how it does that. And when I see a lot of things talk about that, I always get Delicatessen in my head going, "Yep, we did that." And yes, that is important. We know this.
yes, and really, I thank you only for being so open to it, because again, like this was even like my first attempt of doing a food and drinks thing, and really it was just off of precursor before we started the show, was that I was a guest on Oni's past podcast, Autish. And at first, I remember how I asked you if I want like to be a co-host, because I tried other autistic things, but they didn't really like pan out, or some came to me about certain ideas, you know. So when I had this, when I was doing that, I was just trying to say, oh, let me do another project. But you said you want to do it solo and all that stuff. And it's interesting how, like, from that, even during the pre-interview, we talked about food. So that's another way of how we started to get into the idea of doing a show like this. And also, before you answer, like, the other thing is that we never had another title, because most things can be more about like, don't like the title, change that, you know, like, but it was more about you immediately liked the title, And then also like shout out to like a Bat Sauce who does the music for this show, because I say thank goodness we don't have mediocre music or something like that, because I made sure that when we were gonna do this podcast, I ain't gonna have no dang mediocre music, so we ain't doing that, so and I appreciate you only just really being receptive and quickly coming to the concept, because when I sent them the idea, they just went and said sure, and it's like, oh, okay, and then the rest is history right there. So yeah.
Yeah, basically, yeah. I was just like, you know what? Why not? It was just like, let's try something new. Why not? I mean, some of the best ideas have came to be by just me going, sure, why not? I mean, that's kind of how I started on my drag page.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Because really it's kind of like, how even like Melissa, like, just came on and then immediately liked the concept, and also like, from Nico, like her already working with autistic kids anyway, and then really just being receptive to like, oh, I want to do something like this, because I already liked her videos and thought I liked her personality too as well. So I thought that's a plus, because I wanted this to be a personality driven show, and also even after both of us doing it together, I really wanted like that personality driven thing to continue though. So I'm glad that
Yeah.
Melissa's one of those people that really was receptive to it too. So yeah.
Personally, I think that's one of your strengths, Larnell, is you finding the right people. Even though when we both worked together, we both did find guests, but I think it was you that was the majority of it, and you always found the right personalities, and not exactly the right personalities. I mean, personalities that just worked with the show, and it was a varied range of personalities. I mean, which was really cool. So and there was definitely a kind of nuance to it as well, which I also respect. So
Yeah.
yeah, I did appreciate that, and I did find a few guests as well. A lot of the times I'm like, let's shoot my shot, let's see if I get them, see if I get this person, they're quite big, let's see what happens. And then I get a response from, like, example, Ben for Sorted. I'm like, what? That was like very quick as well. I was just like, no way.
Yeah, because really it just came from like, you already doing the T-blog stuff and doing all that stuff, and you had good ideas for guests that we tried to get on. Some we were able to do it, some we weren't able to do it. Hopefully, like, me, Shalise, Nico, and Melissa, we can get those people on, because we still want like that UK influence right there, because it helps also expands the show too as well, and I appreciate you putting that stuff in there to where like you were open to showing really good, and some of these UK businesses and even coffee businesses and tea businesses have very interesting stories though. So I felt like, yeah, let's get, and some of them we got on, so it's just Ben April was one of those people, and that's probably like one of our highest shows so far and all that stuff, on YouTube actually,
Isn't one of the highest podcast episodes the one with Martina?
Yes, we had that one.
From King
Yes,
Kogi.
to where like she was originally from Canada, and she was a person that was into like Asian food and all that stuff. And I think she currently lives in Japan and all that stuff,
And I knew her from when she used to be in the Eat Your Kimchi project a long time ago. So I've been following her for years. It's like, oh, cool. We could have spoke to her for hours. Such a lovely woman, honestly. She's so
Yeah,
lovely.
definitely. Like, we should definitely have a trip to where like we check out some of the Japanese places and Asian places, though. So like one of our podcast episodes, she talked about the pizza bread hack, which I mentioned to her about that and all that stuff, because she was talking about pizza in Japan and all. Like, it really just, she makes different things though. So definitely subscribe to her channel, King Kogi. It's like definitely a talented and interesting person and all that stuff. So anyway, like, I'm so glad only that you've been a part of this journey, and I'm so appreciative of you. Yes, nobody's gonna cry here, okay? Don't worry. It's like,
I might. I'm a crier, okay?
Oh, trust me, I'm emotional as hell. Let's hope I don't start crying.
I was just gonna say to both of you, first of all, I'm just honored to have met both of you and to be able to do this with you. And it's so bittersweet for me that, Oni, you're on the way out, and I'm like coming in, I'm like, no, come back. Because I love the conversation that we all have, and especially today, hearing the stories of your adventures together, the two of you, is, to me, it makes me both in awe and proud. Like, I'm so proud of what you've both accomplished, and I'm also in awe of just what you're doing, because it's so important. it's so important. You know, all the messages, you're showing every side, and I just commend you both. And I just see nothing but wonderful things moving forward. And Oni, we're gonna get you back as a guest. You mark my words.
I don't mind.
Yeah, this is gonna be a see you later. This isn't a goodbye. This is a see you later for sure.
Yeah. Smell you later.
Yes, yes. Now, you know when you have a good co-host when the other person can appreciate the last co-host. That's when it's like, okay, that's a keeper right there, you know. So
no, I just want to sit here and listen to you guys talk about your adventures all day. I'm just like, wow.
Yeah, I'm just glad that me passing the torch to all you guys, you, Larnell, Nico, and Shalice. I think you guys will continue to be awesome, and I hope the next season of Delicatessen will flourish. And I'll make sure to tune in and share as much as I can and enjoy and see how it goes, because I am looking forward to see where it goes, even if I'm not there. But I'll be there in spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, and only like I thank you so much for being a part of this journey, though, and just really doing that, like really just being open to my idea, like from the minute I shared it to quickly doing that, and us like really connecting, not just as co-hosts but as friends, though, as good allies for each other and all that stuff. It's just like, because who would have thought that, because like I've done past projects, outside, and I've had good co-hosts, and then I had other ones that really didn't fit. I've done, like, there's certain times where I always think to myself, like, whenever you're doing a podcast or whenever you're doing stuff, you always want to surround yourself with good people that understand your vision and that can be able to collaborate well with you or something like that, because if not, then look, I've been around people in the past that have not gelled well or have not, like, done things to where it helped the vision and all that type of stuff, so it's good to be around people like you, Oni, as well as like, like Shalice, Nico, and Melissa. It's like, it's good that we're gonna continue, we're gonna keep this going and all that stuff, and I feel psyched about the next season or all the other stuff that we're gonna do and all that stuff. This is like when Nico and Melissa came along with Shalice, I felt like, yes, this thing has legs. This thing can continue and all that stuff. So yeah.
That's just awesome. I'm looking forward to see where it goes from there.
Otherwise than that, only how should people like continue to follow you or check you out or something?
No worries. I'm not as active on Autish blog, but feel free to follow me there if you want. I do browse there now and then. But I'm mainly active on my Drag King page on Instagram, which is Grim and Evil, or at grimmin.evil. I'm mainly active there these days. New project. I'm always in one project to another. That's what I'm doing right now. I do all sorts of things, Drag King stuff, very, very flamboyant, very, very, very queer, very flamboyant, very villainous. So if you like villains and guys that like to show off and all rude, all crude, all badass and all that, and silly. Don't forget silly. Follow Grimmin.
Oh yeah, we're here for all of that.
He's a bit of an ass, but he's cool when you get to know him. I have to keep him in check. So
good thing not like a narcissistic type of person, like how we're dealing with here in America, which I'm not going to say who I'm talking about, but it's like, if you already know what I'm talking about, so I'm just going to leave it right there and all that stuff, so yeah, because I've seen some of the clips. Like, honestly, Only's very good at this character, so definitely check them out on that, so definitely. But anyway, Only, I'm so glad of you being on this show, being a part of this, like us beginning this whole thing together, doing like 4.5 seasons together and all that stuff, for you helping out with this season right here and all that stuff, like, again, like, don't be a stranger, like, you're always welcome back to like be a guest or do one guest co-host thing or something like that. It's just, even if it's just having like a good food conversation or tea conversation or coffee conversation, you're invited back or something like that. So
yeah, I'm surprised I've not spoke about Buldak yet. Sure.
Yes,
I'm still eating that, killing my guts slowly.
Oh really? Okay, all right. Then have you ever had Buldak? Real quick, Melissa, have you ever had?
I have not. I'm intrigued.
It's the Bodak noodles. They're Korean and it's inspired by actual Bodak, which means fire chicken, but it's actually a very very spicy sauce, but it's delicious. But if too spicy, if you can't handle spicy foods, I recommend add mayonnaise and cheese on top.
I'll just take a couple of Tums beforehand and I'll be fine.
Oh yes.
Good to prep the stomach beforehand.
Worth
definitely.
it. Worth it. It's worth the pain.
Well, I don't know if I'll try that though, but otherwise than that, only like thank you so much for for the years and really for you like just being a part of this. And again, like definitely check them out like with their other alter ego, Grim and Evil, and really like I definitely wish you the best. Only like I'll definitely be checking out some of the stuff, and then like look like if you're ever in the US, like please come look us up, all right?
Oh, if I ever go to the USA and if I'm in Florida way, I'll let you know.
Well, I hope you've enjoyed this edition of the Autistic Delicatessen. To check us out, please find us by subscribing to us on YouTube at youtube.com/the Autistic Delicatessen. You can find us at theautisticdelicatessen.card.co, as well as instagram.com/the Autistic Delicatessen.
And you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube at Sweet Melissa Cooks.
And until next time,
What you eat, what you drink is your story. Also, everyone, I'm glad to be here since like 2019, and I wish Melissa, Shalise, Nico, and Larnell the best for their future endeavours, and keep following the Autistic Delicatessen because I sure will.